Welcome to the Sleep to Dream Analytics Explainer video, where better sleep starts with better understanding.
You know how we're all told to get your 8 hours of sleep? Well, what if I told you that's not even close to the full story? We're about to dive into some new science that can actually predict how well we're going to perform and even our risk of accidents, all based on our sleep.
I mean, just think about that question for a second. It's huge. Because, let's be honest, sleep loss is a massive factor in so many errors and accidents, whether you're on the highway or on the job. It causes those little lapses in attention, slows you down, and just leads to bad calls. The stakes are incredibly high.
And this is where things get really fascinating. Scientists are actually building what are called biomathematical models. It sounds complicated, but think of it like this. They're creating a weather forecast, but for your brain's ability to get things done.
But first, why is this so important? I mean, why go to all this trouble? Let's take a quick look at the very real and very high cost of fatigue that these models are trying to tackle.
For decades, most industries have just used these simple blanket rules, right? You can only work X number of hours, you have to rest for Y number of hours. But here's the catch. Those rules totally ignore the complex biology that's happening inside of us. They miss all the key stuff that actually determines how alert we are.
So, if the old rulebook isn't cutting it, what's the answer? Well, this brings us to the really cool science of modeling human performance. And listen, this isn't just theory. These models have some seriously powerful real-world uses. They can predict when someone's at a high risk for making a mistake. They can help companies design waste-safer work schedules. And they can even be used after an accident to figure out if fatigue played a role.
Okay, so how do they actually work? Well, the magic is that they measure three fundamental biological processes that control how awake and alert we feel. Let's break them down.
First up, you've got the circadian process. Just think of this as your body's internal master clock, ticking away on a 24-hour cycle. It creates this natural wave of alertness that goes up and down all day. It is the absolute reason so many of us hit that wall in the afternoon. You know, right around 2 p.m.? That's your circadian clock.
Next, there's the homeostatic process. This one's actually a lot simpler. It's basically your brain's sleep debt collector. From the second you wake up, that sleep pressure starts to build, and the longer you stay awake, the bigger the debt gets, and the more your ability to function just drains away.
A really great way to picture this is the sleep reservoir analogy. So imagine you start every single day with a full tank of performance fuel. Every hour you're awake, that fuel level drops. The only way to refill the tank is to sleep. And if you don't get enough, well, you just start the next day with less fuel, already running at a deficit. And the third piece of the puzzle is sleep inertia. We've all felt this. It's that groggy, foggy feeling you have right when you wake up. Now, for most of us, it disappears in about 20 minutes. But think about a firefighter or an ER doctor who has to be at 100% the second they wake up. That brief period of impairment can be absolutely critical.
Okay, so we've got our three ingredients: the body clock, the sleep debt, and that wake-up grogginess. The real power of these models is how they mix all three together to create a living, breathing prediction of our performance.
What's so important to get here is that these two main forces are always interacting. Your performance at any given moment isn't just one or the other. It's the combination of that steady, downward drain of sleep debt mixed with the rising and falling wave of your internal body clock.
And this is the perfect way to understand the huge challenge for night shift workers. See, when you sleep at night, your body clock and your need for sleep are perfectly aligned. They work together, letting you totally refill that performance reservoir. But if you try to sleep during the day, now you're in a fight. You're trying to sleep while your body clock is literally screaming at you to be awake. The result is you just don't get as good of a refill, and you start your shift already running on fumes. And what's the actual cost of cutting back on sleep over time? Wow, okay, this chart from a study is just stunning. It shows what happens to your performance after just 1 week. Compared to people getting a full 9 hours, folks who got only 5 hours a night saw their performance drop by 13%. And at 3 hours a night, it dropped by over 20%. The big takeaway here is that sleep debt isn't a one-and-done thing. It just keeps building, day after day, with a real, measurable impact. Now, this science isn't just stuck in a sleep lab somewhere. It's already out in the real world, actually changing how major industries operate. Let's look at how it's being used right now.
As we speak, these models are helping create smarter, safer schedules for pilots, truck drivers, you name it. They're being used in accident investigations to give objective data on whether fatigue was a factor, and they're even helping shape policy for huge agencies like the FAA. This is happening now.
So how accurate are they? Get this. This is just remarkable. In controlled lab studies, the predictions from the model were so good, they could explain 94% of the difference in performance between people. Let me put that another way. They were incredibly good at predicting who is going to do well and who is going to mess up, just based on their sleep. That is an unbelievable amount of predictive power.
So, where is all this heading? What's the next big step? Well, the next frontier in fatigue modeling is making it all about you.
Right now, most models predict the average performance for a whole group of people, which is great for setting broad safety rules. But the future, that's all about predictions tailored just for you. Imagine a model that knows your unique body clock, your personal sleep needs, maybe even your genetics, to give you a personalized performance forecast every single day.
Of course, we're not quite there yet. Let's be real. The science is still working out some kinks. Researchers are trying to get better at accounting for individual traits, like are you a morning lark or a night owl? They're also figuring out how to factor in things we do to cheat the system, like drinking coffee, and the impact of stress. And that kind of brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. Just imagine for a second, having an app on your phone that could tell you based on your sleep, hey, you're going to be at your sharpest for that big presentation at 10 a.m., or you know what? You're at a high risk for an error this afternoon. Maybe don't take that long drive. If you had that personal fatigue forecast, how would it change your life?
Thank you for watching the Sleep to Dream Analytics Explainer video. We hope you sleep well and dream easy.